what is TCP and UDP? Now, these two protocols, starting with the TCP, both are transport layer protocols used to send data over the internet. For example, when you are downloading a file from the internet, one of these protocols is used. Also, when you are streaming video, you make use of one of these protocols. Your device doesn't pick which protocol to use. The application or service you are using does. So you don't need to bother. By the time we find the difference between both of them, you will discover that you don't have the option to choose the protocol which you want to use. TCP versus UDP protocols. Before diving into scanning, let's review TCP and UDP because they are the foundational protocols for data transmission. So overview of TCP and UDP. TCP, which is Transmission Control Protocol, is the most widely used protocol on the internet, and we're going to find out why it's the most widely used. TCP ensures reliable, ordered, and error-checked data delivery. Examples include loading a web page, sending emails, or downloading files. So how does TCP work? TCP works in three-way handshake. And what do I mean by this? It establishes a connection between client and the server. As you can see here, our PC is a client, and where the information is stored on the internet is the server. So before you can use TCP to establish a connection, or if you want to access the content of a server using TCP, three things will have to happen. And what are those things? The first one is synchronize. Let's say I want to visit a web page that is hosted on this server. The client have to send a sync packet to the server. That is the first thing. And when that is successful, the server have to respond with sync ACK, which is synchronize acknowledge. So the server will respond with sync ACK to confirm receipts, and then the third step, acknowledge. Client send acknowledge to finalize the connection. Imagine this: you send a flower to your woman, and in this case you are the client and your woman is the server, and your woman will pick up her phone to call you and say, "Thank you, I have seen the flower." And then you will now ask your woman to be your wife. So this is a typical example of what happens in a TCP. You send the packet to the server will acknowledge the receipt of the packet, and then you will going to finalize with the connection. So this is how it works. So why do we have to go through these three processes? Look at this. Reliability. Packets are numbered, tracked, and transmitted if lost or corrupted. So what it means is this: TCP does not encourage loss of packets along in the process of transmission. So if 100 packets is needed, 100 packets will be received. If any packet is lost on the way, it's going to send a message back to replace the packets that was lost during the transmission. So error checking guarantees data integrity, e.g., downloaded files work without errors. Imagine this: you want to download a software which is about 5 gig. All the packets of that software has to be complete in order for that software to work. So without the packets being complete, that software is not going to work. And TCP will guarantee that there is no packet loss during the transfer of file from the server to the client. So let's look at UDP and what it means and how it operates. Now, on the other hand, User Datagram Protocol is a lightweight, connectionless protocol prioritizing speed over reliability, and is ideal for real-time applications. So we have seen the major difference here. It is a connectionless protocol meaning it doesn't have to acknowledge receipt. It is fast and is ideal for real-time applications like video streaming. So how does UDP work? No handshake or error correction. Packets are sent without confirmation of receipt and used in live streaming, online gaming, and VoIP, e.g. drop packets don't halt transmission. So in UDP, when there is a loss in packets being transmitted, it doesn't stop or halt the transmission. Now let's look at the key difference. The features now: connection, TCP connection oriented, which we can call it has to establish a handshake. But for UDP, it is connectionless. Then reliability, in TCP it is high. Retransmit lost data. When there is data loss, it's going to retransmit it to make sure that all the packets sent is going to be received. But for UDP, is low, no retransmission. Once the packet is lost, that is the end. Now we'll talk about speed. TCP is slow due to the error checking. It checks for error while transmitting, therefore it makes it slow. But for UDP that doesn't check for error, it is fast. Then use cases: TCP is used for web browsing and file transfer, while UDP is good with live streams and online gaming. TCP protocol is a connection-oriented protocol that establishes a handshake before data transmission. So it provides high reliability by retransmitting lost data packets, making it ideal for applications where data integrity is crucial. If you send 100 packets and you need 100 packets, you have to make sure that the protocol you use is TCP. Then UDP protocol is a connectionless protocol that prioritizes speed over reliability without the overhead of handshakes and error checking. UDP delivers data faster, making it perfect for real-life applications where occasional data loss is acceptable. So I believe the difference between TCP and UDP is clear at this level. So why does this matter in scanning? So let's look at the scanning relevance. Let's look at TCP scan. It detects open port services with reliable response, e.g. HTTP on port 80. Then let's look at UDP scans. It identifies services like DNS, which is port 53, but may miss response due to UDP's connectionless nature. Let's look at the ethical hacking insight. Understanding protocols help interpret scan results and prioritize vulnerabilities, e.g. outdated TCP services versus UDP based attacks. Now let's look at the TCP and UDP comparison table. For reliability, it is a yes for TCP and a no for UDP. Then packet order, it maintains the order by which the packet is sent. But for UDP, there is no ordering. Then the speed, it is slower because it checks for error. But for UDP, it is faster because it doesn't care if there is error or not. The use case is used in browsers, email, and downloads. In downloads, you have to download all the packets of the particular software in order to install it. So here it's used for streaming, calls, and games. So this is the reason why sometimes you're in a call and you get a disconnection. So handshake required, yes, and it's three-way handshake for TCP, and for UDP, no handshake is required. So who chooses the protocol? Because I know what will be going on in your mind right now. You can say, no, I don't like UDP because it encourages data loss. I will choose TCP. But here is the main thing. You don't choose the protocol you use. The application or protocol designer decides based on needs. programmers choose the best protocol when building the software because they understand what the software will do, so they are in a better position to pick the best protocol. So you just click and the protocol works behind the scene. You don't see the protocol work, or you don't choose the protocol you want to use. So why choose one over the other? It depends on the kind of data being sent. If the data being sent needs to be complete and in order, then TCP must be used. Do you need reliability, or do you need speed and can tolerate some data loss? So this is what determines the one you're going to choose if you're a programmer or you're in a position to choose a protocol as a developer. So let's look at when to use TCP. You can use TCP when you need reliable delivery, ordered packets, and error checking and correction. Aside this, then you need the other. So for example, web browsing, whereby you need all the content of the pages to be visible, then email address also, SMTP, IMAP, and POP3, then file downloads, FTP, and remote access, which is SSH. So when to use UDP? Use UDP when you need speed and low latency, when you need real-time performance, and when you can tolerate some packet loss. Example, when you are streaming YouTube or Netflix, a loss in packet cannot halt the streaming. Also, when you are gaming online, you need some real-time experience, and also video and voice calls such as Zoom and WhatsApp needs to be real-time because you're gonna be exchanging information from one end of the call to the other. Then DNS lookups and live broadcast. So what's my final takeaway? TCP is equals to reliable but it's slower. UDP is fast but less reliable. Both have their roles. It's all about the right tool for the right job. So what next? These are the tools we're going to focus on. We're going to master Nmap, which is the industry standard network scanner. We're going to scan vulnerable machines. I'm going to be scanning them for open ports, outdated software, and services that are running on them. So we're going to be identifying services that are running, such as software and their versions. Then at the end, we're going to document our findings for vulnerability analysis. So that is all for this video. I will see you on the next one, whereby we are going to enter into scanning proper. See you on the next one.